In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of American Black and White. I'm your host, Charles King, and tonight we'll get the show started with a Black History reflection as well as a tribute to Women's International Month. Our reflection today will be on Winnie Mandela. Winnie Mandela stands as one of the most complex, courageous, and unyielding figures in the global structure for Black liberation. While the world often remembers Nelson Mandela as the face of South Africa's freedom movement, it was Winnie who held the line when the world turned its back. She endured imprisonment, banishment, and relentless state surveillance, yet she refused to be silenced. Her leadership was forged in fire, not in the halls of diplomacy, but in the streets among the people where oppression was felt most sharply. Winnie Mandela became a symbol of resistance, a reminder that liberation is not only won through speeches and negotiations, but through the grit, sacrifice, and unbreakable will of those who refuse to surrender their humanity. Tonight, as we honor her legacy, we recognize the spirit of leaders who stand in the gap for their communities, those who rebuild, restore, and fight for economic, social, and structural justice. Leaders like our guest, Derrick Wilson, who embodies the same commitment to resilience, empowerment, and community advancement. So let's get to introducing our guest tonight. Uh, Welcome to another powerful episode of American Black and White, where we explore the stories, the systems, and the solutions shaping Black life in America. Tonight, we're diving into a conversation that sits at the intersection of business, community, restoration, and leadership. In every community, there are individuals who do not just talk about change, they build it. They repair what's broken. They advocate for what's needed. They create pathways for others to rise. Our guest tonight is one of those rare leaders whose work touches both the physical and economic foundations of the communities he serves. From navigating the complexities of insurance claims and disaster recovery to leading Chamber of Commerce to mentoring the next generation of entrepreneurs and skilled professionals. Derrick Wilson is a builder in every sense of the word. His work strengthens homes, strengthens businesses, and strengthens people. Tonight, we're going to explore his journey, his mission, and the impact he's making across Georgia. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing Derrick Wilson to the show. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I am just excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm grateful to be here today.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we get into the show?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to having another great conversation with you, Mr. King. You know how to pick the mind and pull deep, and have us speaking our truth. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. Let's start with your early journey and foundations. Can you tell us what first sparked your interest in the insurance and restoration industries?
Uh, Well, originally, what sparked my interest was, so I used to be a tax preparer, and I ended up doing an adjuster's taxes, and I liked the income. I was like, oh, what is this? And it aligned with just growing up. I've always been helping people. I grew up in the church. I was highly involved in the church, and then went to a Christian university. So service of others has always been. I started a janitorial company. Serving others, doing taxes, and so it just fell in line with that. And then when I became an adjuster, learning more and more about the insurance industry, the different contractors that I interacted with, from the restoration to the reconstruction side. And I learned that there's still a gap between the actual servicing of people, and there's a gap between the insurance company and the restoration industry. So with my knowledge of both, I stepped to the restoration side to try to, set myself apart, set our company apart from other companies by being that company that knows both sides of the coin, and is able to interact effectively for the customer by helping them navigate that insurance process without all the headaches.
So tell us, 'cause that sounds like an enormous amount of work. How does that work on both sides of that coin, as you mentioned?
Well, one, I approach every job claim as how I would like to have been approached when I was working for the insurance company. I tell people, by the way, I don't want to get too deep into it because I am writing a book about this. So first time this has been publicly mentioned on your show, so you got some breaking news. But in the book, I mentioned how most of the people in the restoration contractor side of the industry, they approach the insurance adjuster, like basically they're because we are, as the restoration people, we're all the experts. We are the ones that are hands on the ground, boots on the ground, and know the job. But you shouldn't, walk in, I'm the guy, nobody, this is how it goes. It should be a collaborative effort, because whether or not we, as the restoration side, wants to admit it, the adjuster is the one that has the checkbook,
Mm.
and so holding the purse strings. And then you just it's all about how you approach them and how you speak with them. And I ain't trying to say kiss anybody's butt, but it's all about how you approach a collaboration. I've ended tense calls just by simply telling the adjuster, hey, calm down. I'm a licensed adjuster as well. I've been in your situation. I'm just calling to have a conversation. Oh man, I appreciate that. And then, you know, it's like, giving candy to a baby at that point. Once you break that original tension, because I mean, I was guilty of it too. Every time I showed up and it was a particular company, I'd be like, oh man, here we go again. You know, but or if it's a company, I just have no idea what, who they are, never met them. My guard is up. But I'm able to help them relax. We can talk, and being that since I'm working local here in Georgia, we know some of the same people. We've been in the same rooms. We probably don't work for the same companies. So I'm able to break that ice and let them know, look, I'm one of you guys. I'm actually out here trying to help everybody. I'm trying to make sure that, the we're not taking advantage of the insurance company. And I'm also trying to make sure that the insurance company isn't taking advantage of the homeowner. Like, everyone is walking away happy.
Mm. How did your early experiences shape your approach to leadership and service?
Um, it goes back to, again, my upbringing. My grandmother, she had 11 kids, 9 girls, 2 boys. I was raised by mostly all of the girls, so 9 girls, so 10 women. And my grandma made sure that we were in church. And one of the things that I learned by growing up in the church is service. I mean, every church is different. Drewski got his skit going on, had everybody up in arms, but my church was about service. They served the community. and I learned that by watching my pastor when I grew up. He passed away, Dr. M.A. Nemo. He was definitely great doing service, and then the pastor that followed after him, Pastor Charles Guilford, that continued the service uh, mindset, and then just all the other preachers that I followed under over the years. Pastor A. Lewis Patterson Jr. He passed away, but service. I mean, every Pastor J.D. Haran, they all focus on servicing the community, servicing the flock, and that just followed me into my professional. Abilene Christian University, and I can just go on and on. Like it ties to my Christian roots. That's all I've seen is servicing leaders in service, leaders in position servicing their flock, their congregation, their clients.
So, who were the mentors or influences that guided you into this line of work?
Uh, this line of work, well, as far as in the insurance world, one of my greatest influences is one of my former coworkers. His name is Tony Strozier. I mean, he became like a big brother to me. He you know he's been in the industry a little longer than I have, and he the one that kept me from going off my rocker at times. And he'll call me, and we'll vent to each other about the insurance work. Even now, when I'm no longer a coworker as he is, but he's still in the industry, I'm still somewhat in the industry, and so we we call each other every now and then, and have our vending sections. Also, you know, it may sound strange, but one of my mentors is also a female. Uh, I mean, Crystal Gordon. I mentioned her in the last show. I gave her a shout out. She has been a staple in my life for the last at least 3-4 years. I met her when I was an adjuster. When I was an active adjuster, because I'm still a licensed adjuster, and I met her then, and she's been very influential in again keeping me from going on the deep end. Telling me brother, did you think about that, or did you think about just making iron sharpens iron. And them two have really been helpful for me throughout my career here in Georgia, because I moved to Georgia without knowing anyone in the industry. And so I had a family member here, a couple of family members here, but none of them are in the insurance industry. And so I moved here, but my family, and I had to meet new people in the industry, and they were great. But back to service, leadership, my mentors were the ones I named, my former pastors, and one of my great leadership overall mentors is the former Rockdale County chairman, Oz Nesbitt. He's been a great influence for me, and a great sounding board when it comes down to leadership and business as a whole.
Oh wow! Oz has been on the show.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that's my guy.
he was just actually here last Friday on Final Word Friday.
Okay, yeah, that's my guy.
Um, what personal values have remained constant throughout your career?
What personal values? Well, anyone who know me, I got to stop saying that part too. Anyone that knows me, I'm very big on integrity, trust, and service. Those are my three pillars. Walking in integrity. Um, I don't play with that. If I can't trust you, I can't do business with you. And that's my mantra. And if anybody that knows anything about me or anything over the last year and a half know that I have no problems letting it be known that if I can't trust you, I can't work with you. If you're not about service, I can't work with you. If it's all about the dollar, yes, we all go into business to make money, but as the Bible say, the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, the love of money. And if you're willing to do anything and everything for money, which includes doing unethical things, I can't rock with you. And so,
Uh, you know something? I think when you say that, I think for most people, I can say that have come up, with your grandparents or your grandmother, the way you was raised and so forth, because it's the same with me. And I know to this day, right now to this day, and I am 59 years old, I make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do from an ethical perspective, because I'll be quick to say, oh, if my grandmother saw me doing this, she would kill
oh
me.
yeah, oh yeah. 'Cause I'm the same way. My line is I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna jeopardize my license.
Yes,
Like I'm
exactly.
not doing it. And then it's reputation because, as we briefly mentioned, when I walk out these doors, I'm not just Derrick Wilson, Derrick J. Wilson. I'm Derrick J. Wilson, president of the chamber. Derrick J. Wilson, president of the alliance. The direct managing member, owner of Guardian Restoration Group. Like I'm not just me as a person. It's like I have a reputation to uphold, and I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize any of that. Because at the end of the day, my family needs to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
None of that goes in jeopardy.
And what I learned, the one thing I learned when I moved to Georgia is real big on doing business with relational transactions.
Mm,
They do not do business with people they don't know. It was, I mean, when I first moved here, I had to learn real quick that, I need to start making relationships, building friends, building bridges, because uh immediately they don't. Yeah, like in Texas, it's transaction, just keep it moving, let's go, let's on to next. I Here in Georgia, it may take a while. I joined a group in June, in a networking group, and I didn't get my first referral until December. But since December, oh, it's been rolling. It's been
mm,
rolling. You had to build up that relationship and had to build up that trust.
yeah. How did growing up, well, you didn't grow up in Georgia, but the time that you came here to Georgia, how has that time influenced your understanding of community needs?
Since I've been here, I've noticed a few things when it comes down to community needs. When I originally moved here, I lived in Gwinnett County. I was in District 3, the county, unincorporated Snellville, which I ended up running for county commissioner for that area, because I noticed that as soon as you cross outside, coming through Snellville, going south, as soon as you cross outside the city limits, it looked totally different. Totally different from the city, totally different from the county. I told people it looked like a third world country, like compared to the rest of the parts of the county. And so I noticed then that, one, it was underserved, underrepresented. At that time, it was when I did the research, it was in a bad, had a bad representative that was infamous for making racial and improper comments, and won't say his name, do the research. I don't believe in giving people spotlights that don't deserve it. And so, and I just noticed that, a lot of the people in that area that I lived in were just like me, working class, go to work, come home, wasn't really necessarily paying attention to the day to day. But then, but they noticed, like I noticed, I may not have said anything, but I'm riding down the street and like, wow, why does it look like this over here? And so I just learned that once you, again, that relationship, once you go out into your community and start knocking on doors and holding different town halls and events and letting people speak up, one, they show up, and two, they will speak up. To this day, I have people calling me with their concerns about our comments about things. And fast forward to where it was the the Livesey land, the Mr. Livesey land, the historical black-owned property, in Gwinnett County, in that same area where at one point the county was attempting to. I'm trying to be mindful how I say it. It was going through the eminent domain process, and that was not kosher. And working with the community was able to push back on that, where they were able to, where the county ended up stepping back from that, and now there's a different process that's going on. Unfortunately, Mr. Livesey ended up passing away within the last year or so, a couple of years, and he had to be, I think he was like 93, 94 years old. But but that process is still going. They're meeting with the community. They're figuring out how to move forward and what to do with the land and things of that nature. But all that was initially part of my, me being part of the community and learning that this is a great community, and they just need it. I ain't gonna say they need. They appreciate when someone steps up and speak on their behalf, because everyone in our area is capable of doing it. Because, like I say, our area is full of professionals. It's just, whoever decides to be that voice, they do appreciate that, and they tend to stand behind them if they feel like that you are a great representative of the community. And so.
Well, that sounds down to the last decimal point, not decimal point, but the last period of an example of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah. Well, I'm standing on some shoulders. I
Mhm.
mean, I did have some help along the way. I had a great seventh grade history teacher that became a great friend of mine. Uh, Godparent to my kids, Michael Pelton. And every chance I get, if you follow me on social media and anything, every chance I get, if anybody asks me, inspiration, or I mean, he's my guy. Like I said, I met him in seventh grade. So what's that? 12 years old. And he poured in me before, uh, I would say, I guess, I ain't gonna say before anyone else, but he was the first one to actually reach. Again, growing up in the church, the men of the church, they were there, but there also was considered family inside my ecosystem. But he was the first person outside of that was like, hey man, why are you acting like that? Why are you doing this? You can be better than that. And after looking past him of being a teacher and just doing his job, like, all right, whatever, guy. Actually, really looking past him and then learning about him and learning how he connected to General Colin Powell, and just learning about him. I was like, okay, all right, you actually a cool cat. And so, and to this day, we still keep in touch, with each other. And so, I I was pulled up. I was pulled up. I ain't gonna say I pulled myself up. I was definitely pulled up. And Crystal told me the other day, boy, your grandma, them prayers of your grandma, they still there. And I know that's cliche, but my grandma prayed for me.
Mhm.
And I'm reaping those benefits.
So let's transition over to your work in insurance adjusting and your claims expertise. What do most property owners misunderstand about the insurance claims process?
Most property owners think their insurance policy is a home warranty, and those are totally different. I tell people insurance is for sudden and accidental. Is not for long term and maintenance items. And as an adjuster, I used to use the example: if you have a flat tire, you don't call your insurance company, do you? They're like, oh, well, no. Well, if you got a pipe burst, if you don't call the insurance company for the pipe bursting, you call a plumbing company. You call the insurance company for the damage that it caused, the water damage, the ensuing water damage that was caused. Um, and mold is one of the real tricky ones, because usually mold is a sign of long term, uh, and again, sudden and accidental. And so long term items such as mold is typically not covered by insurance companies. And so, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, wow.
Yeah. So usually that's one of the tricky items, and then that people try to get creative with when they have mold. But again, roofing, most people don't replace their roof until they have an insurance claim, and technically that's not the case. Um, just like any other item in your house or in your life, you're supposed to do routine maintenance. Um, so if your roof sustained weather damage, whether from a tree, hail, or wind, yes, that is insurance related. But insurance is not going to replace your roof just because it's old. you know, and again, most people they don't they don't replace a roof in their lifetime. If they do, it's because it's an insurance claim.
Give, if you don't mind, can you give our audience at least at maybe 4 or 5 points of the importance and what to understand, what this means when it comes to filing a claim, what the adjuster does, and how the two merge together to make situations right? Because I think a lot of people, as you say, they take they actually get the wrong idea about what these claims are, and they get upset with people,
Yeah.
and they say the wrong things without realizing that they're wrong.
All right. Well, again, first and foremost, the insurance is for sudden and accidental. And I've always so one of the biggest issues that I've noticed from being an adjuster is a lot of contractors will tell the customer wait to file a claim until either after they finish their process, the drying. If it's a water claim, either after they have completed the drying process or uh, like 2 3 days after they've started. Well, that's problematic because your duty as a homeowner when it comes down, because so the policy is a contract. It's a contract between you and the insurance company. And if you actually read the policy, which most people do not, 30, 60 some page policy, but there are conditions for the homeowner, conditions for the insurance company. One of those conditions is uh, timely reporting. So you have to report it timely. And then, two, you have to allow the insurance company opportunity to investigate the situation. And so what I do is most of the time, if I'm called out and there's not a claim has been filed, I'll come in and look at. I'll show up with my adjuster lens on and say, okay, yes or no. I don't think this will be a covered issue, and tell them why, and then give them the alternative of how. Now I've got my restoration hat back on, how it can be fixed, or yes, I believe this is a covered issue based on my knowledge. Now I don't know your policy. I don't know the nuances of your policy. If you have any endorsements, whatever that will prevent this from being covered, but in generally speaking, this is a covered situation. And then move forward with filing a claim. We need to file a claim. I will sit there with you to go through the process of filing the claim, speaking with the people on the phone, helping you answer the questions. One thing I've noticed with people tend to talk too much. You know, they they think they know what they know when they don't know what they know. Uh, Perfect example: there is a major difference between a backup and an overflow. uh, Major difference. One is, and people always ask, "Oh, well, what's the difference?" Coverage and denial. A overflow is typically 98% of the time a covered item. A backup is, I'll say, 40% of the time is not covered, And the other 60% of the time, if it is covered, it's covered with limits, which means an overflow will fall under your regular policy limits, as they call coverage A. So if your insurance, if your home burns down, your coverage A is supposed to be replacement of your home value. So that means, let's say $500,000. So an overflow will fall under that $500,000 limit. So that means obviously our overflow is not going to cost that much, but we know that there's money available to do what we can do our job effectively. Backups, if they are covered, they tend to have sub limits, 10,000. Well, depending on how bad that backup is, that 10,000 will just cover the mitigation. That doesn't cover your rebuild, your repairs. And that matters. And most of the time, a backup doesn't just happen in your toilet. A backup is usually something that happens from the city or the county line and is flowing and is coming through your sink, your toilet, your tub. That's how you can tell the difference between a backup and an overflow. And so once we get past that, we file a claim, determine, and I speak with whomever on the phone, let them know I'm the contractor on site, tell them my perspective or whatever I see. And if anything additional is needed, like a pack out, ALE, which is additional living expenses for maybe the homeowner can't live in the home during the time, things of that nature, I assist with that. And then we get to work when the adjuster comes out. And a lot of people feel like the adjuster job is to come out and deny. Oh, your job is to save the insurance company money. I mean, I've never been to a training where we were told, hey, make sure you save us some money. Don't pay, as much as you can. I've always been told, go out and make the homeowner whole. And a lot of things that people don't know, if the adjuster that comes out is an independent adjuster, the larger your damage amount is, that more that adjuster gets paid.
Oh, wow.
So
just for doing the assessment.
The adjuster doing the assessment, because the independent adjusters, they're on a fee schedule, which means I get a certain amount of money based on whatever your estimate falls in that line. So that kind of contradicts the, oh, my job is come out there to deny, because if I come out there to deny, that means I ultimately make less money than if I came out there and you had damage. That's why our industry is so heavily regulated, as far as with the Department of Insurance and all that, because there's so much, I ain't gonna say opportunity, but fraud could be an issue, because of the incentive of the larger the damage, the more money one can make. You would think that person would go out there and just give everybody a lot of damage so I can make more money. But it doesn't work like that. If you don't have damage, you don't have damage. If it's not covered, it's not covered. But if it's covered and you have damage, oh, we're happy. And so that's why I always found it funny. Your job is to deny. No. And as a staffer, like I say, I never went to a meeting where we were instructed to save the company money and deny. Matter of fact, one company in particular that I work for, their mantra was try to find coverage. Like, go out there and find coverage. Try to find a way to cover this claim. And then if it's not covered, then it's not covered. But and so the adjuster comes out, right, view the damage, aligns it with the policy, and then write an estimate, issue a check, work with the contractor. Now, another misconception is the adjuster has to work or communicate with your contractor. That's not true. Your contract with your contractor has nothing to do with your contract with the insurance company. If your insurance company is State Farm and State Farm has a contract with you, they technically only have to speak with you. Them speaking with your contractor is a courtesy. obviously it helps the process go smoother. And a lot of contractors don't seem to realize that. I understand that. And so again, I'm not telling you to kiss anybody's butt, but as my grandma used to say, you get more bees with honey, or get
Yes,
more
you
flies with honey, whatever the word is. And
yes.
so yeah, if we're post if I'm trying to get you to collaborate with me, knowing that you don't necessarily have to, and knowing that you know that you don't necessarily have to, I'm gonna try to be as nice and professional as cordial as possible. You know, hey, Mr. King, how you doing today? You
Mhm.
know, and I'm not coming in like, yeah, I see you got some water damage over here. This and that. This is how much. No, build a rapport first. It goes a long way.
Wow. So, how does your background as an adjuster give you an advantage in restoration work?
Well, without beating a dead horse, it allows me to, um, you know, walk with walk the customer through the process from beginning to end, because I've done that. I've handled the claim from beginning to end. I've been that adjuster that approved, denied, reviewed the exact same estimate and documents that I'm about to provide on your behalf. Uh, and it allows me to communicate with the adjuster in a way that I'm, maybe not everyone is able to do it, because they know that I've been in their seat. I understand the process and their thinking, and it don't work with everybody. Just like we say about police officers, you got some bad officers. Not all officers are bad. You got some good ones. Same thing about adjusters. Not all adjusters are bad. You got some good ones. Not all adjusters are good. You got some bad ones. Um, and when you come across them, you handle them accordingly.
Now, I think that makes a lot of sense because when you think about in doing this kind of work, especially when homeowners call, people out for these kind of situations, I think you would want to be in a collaborative state of mind.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you would think,
That's me.
but then I noticed that, which is ironic because I'm in that situation now, but I actually know what I'm talking about. But I found it ironic as an adjuster how people will find a company on Google
Oh
that they
God.
just met and believe them over the insurance company they've been paying for the last 10, 5, 10, 20 years. Oh, well, my contractor states, ma'am, I understand that, but why do they automatically get oh, they got great reviews? Well, so that matters because I'm on Google and I have great reviews as well. The difference is I can one, I'm still licensed by the state of Georgia and several other states, but the state of Georgia, since we're in Georgia, and so I'm still held to another level of accountability that my competitors aren't. And two, I since I am licensed as an adjuster, I know the process, and so I'm able to help you out by giving some nuances and giving some things like if there is a blockage, I can say, well, request this. Most people don't request these things, and so when you do request it, one, they'll be like, okay, okay, he must be giving them some feedback, because my email states that I'm an adjuster, and so I don't throw it out there. I don't lead with it. I don't walk up to the insurance adjuster, hey, I'm an adjuster. It's not on my business card. But when I send over my information, when I email you, it does state that I'm a licensed adjuster. I'm not a public adjuster, so I'm not representing the homeowner, but I am a licensed adjuster, and so therefore, I can call out BS when I hear it.
Um, what are the biggest challenges when navigating claims with insurance carriers?
The biggest challenge is just timely payments. Like now, I have a job that we finished in January and still trying to get paid. So just timely payments.
Um, how do you ensure transparency and fairness for property owners during claims?
To ensure transparency. Well, so most of the conversations that I have with the insurance company and with the insurance company, the homeowner is copied in the email. Um, uh, they do sign the work authorization that allow me to speak with the insurance company, and I just keep them in the loop. There's not a conversation that I have with the insurance company that the homeowner isn't aware of, and I just, because again, I'm not trying to hide anything, and I'm not trying to do anything shady or sneaky. So again, because my name is attached to this, and so that's my reputation, and whether people acknowledge it or not, but most of these adjusters are former colleagues of mine, so we know each other, and if I don't know you, um, once I meet you, then we do know each other because I'm gonna keep in touch, and I'm gonna see you again because I'm in the same spaces, whether I'm an adjuster or a contractor. I'm still going to the same spots that we we in the industry are. You know, the state of Georgia is very large, but the insurance industry is not as large as people may think. You
Yeah,
know, you never know who knows who.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that. Can you walk us through what a well-documented scope of work looks like?
A well documented scope of work looks like. Well, one, it photos are king. You need photos. I tell my crew, take a picture of the as soon as you pull up to the house, take a picture of the house from the curb, and take a picture of the address as verifying the address, whether it's the numbers on the house, the numbers on the mailbox. Take a picture of that, and then take a picture of every room of the house, whether it's damaged or not. One, it does two things. Um, it helps you from a customer coming back and say, "Oh well, um, you guys damaged XYZ." And we can go back to our photos and say, well, no, ma'am, as you see in the pictures when we arrived, this item was already damaged in the photos that we took upon arrival. Same thing with the insurance company. It can show whether or not this is damage is related to the claim or not. Uh, so great photos and 360 photos, not just snapping. Take a 360 photo of every room. Take an overview of every room, up, down, ceiling, floors. Take pictures of items in the room, and then just go through and document the damage. Get the floor plans, do the measurements, um, and then go through the damages. And depending on the damage, that scope, if it's flooring related, flooring, siding, even roofing, um, get a sample, send it over to the lab to determine how much it is, what product it is, if the product discontinued, if it's not discontinued, where can it be purchased. Uh, all that is required for insurance claims, especially when it's over 100 square feet. So if you're doing 100 square feet of flooring, you got to get a flooring sample of that same floor. If it's 100 square feet of siding, you got to get a siding sample. Same thing with the roof, you got to get a shingle sample. But great documentation is the main ingredients of processing a successful claim. Your claim could be denied or drugged through or significantly decreased if the company you work with or hire does not have great documentation.
I want to ask you this because it sounds like you guys have to be like like an investigator. Then you got to turn around where now you got to become, more than cordial with that client. Then you got to come right back and you've got to make these serious assessments, good or bad. That's gonna say this.
Yeah,
And then you got to go back and you got to say, this is what we found.
right.
So, how are you guys able, or how are you able to maintain, the level head personality and attitude that you have when it comes to your clients. Because I know sometimes some people like be trying to get belligerent, and you got to do something to soothe that.
Well, yeah, it can get challenging. I try to always, when things get too heated in the kitchen, I try to always press the pause button. One thing about me, I'd be like, okay, well, hold on, wait a minute, let's pause right quick. Let's rewind, and I try to you know start over. Or I ask, okay, well, hold on, that's definitely a miscommunication or a disagreement. Like, can you explain to me the what part is bothering you or you upset about? You almost become a counselor. I mean, you're the expert when you come. You're the expert, and now you're the counselor. There's been situations where you know the homeowners are already going through things. We're all a human. We all are going through something, and then this happens, and so now you have strangers in your home, and you're trying your best to be on your best behavior with your spouse that you've been arguing with for the last however long. And so we've been in the middle of that. We've seen, situations where it escalated to full blown arguments, and we're like, whoa, okay, as we gather our stuff and tiptoe out the house. Uh, but you know, you have to understand, people are not calling us to celebrate the birth of a new child, or hey, yeah, guess what? We got a new house. Come over. They're calling us because a disaster happened. Something happened for them to call us. Something happened that wasn't great, and they called us in. So emotions are already high, and we just have to be mindful that you have to have empathy for people. You can't, you can't just be like that doctor in the commercial that be that straightforward doctor. Oh, well, good news, he's in a great place. Oh, okay, great, he's doing better. Oh no, he's dead. Like, no, you can't. You have to be that person to understand your tone, the delivery, is all about how you say things and the way you say it. And sometimes it's just best to be like, have a conversation at another time. Like, look, I come back tomorrow. I just you just have to be mindful of that. You have to put all them hats on, and then you have to go once you're off the clock. Then you have to go find whatever you do to relax. I I am the biggest. I'm the most introverted extrovert that you ever meet. I don't. People think, oh man, he's an extrovert. He like going out there. Man, look, I am the most antisocial person. When I'm off the clock, when I shut down, I shut down. I'm in my room. I'm watching TV. I'm at home. I'm out with the kids, with the wife, doing my own thing. I have a hoodie on, try to be incognito, you
Mhm.
know, but that's my downtime. That's how I decompress from being in those situations. We're not as it can be, but we're not as exposed to trauma like police officers or medics, but we do see a lot. I mean, as an adjuster and as a restoration company, I have seen a lot, just dealing with disasters. I've been in hurricane struck areas, tornado struck areas, seen sewage backups. I done handled suicides, murders in the homes or in vehicles. So seen a lot. So you have to be able to decompress, whatever it is that helps you decompress. In churches and not, staying grounded in your whatever your spiritual background is can help. That's why the older I get, I tell people, look, I don't have time for drama. Like, I deal with enough quote unquote drama in my day to day that I don't have time for any extra drama in my personal life. I try to live a stress-free life as much as possible.
So, what trends are you seeing in property claims across Georgia?
Or trends. I'm saying, like I said, the number one trend I'm noticing is just the delay in pay. And if I had to guess, the reason why the delay in pay is the workload is pretty intense. Um, I mean, I don't believe it's intentional because, like I said, I've been on that side. I, I I'm probably guilty of taking longer than what one would like to have issue payments. And so I say that to say just the delay in pay is number one trend I'm noticing. It's taking a lot longer in my expectations to get paid. Um, but, as far as the claims that we've handled, um, I haven't had, any too many surprises for the most part. Been blessed in that situation.
Well, I gotta say, for you, it is very nice to hear that you have had not had to deal with some of those other crazy things that are dealing with
Yeah.
the backlog on payments. Because here in Georgia, I think that the reason why that backlog is there is because of the fraud, and that's both on the contractors as well as owners and insurance companies. It's a trifecta.
Yeah.
And because I don't know how long you've been here, but I know that since I got here, there has always been between contractors and insurance companies. There have been an enormous amount of fraudulent activity that's taken place that's for like an enormous amount of money.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And when they go back and they do them investigations, and when they pop these people out on TV, I mean, like, it's funny, but it's not funny because, the harm that they have caused these homeowners is like unbelievable.
yeah. I mean, since I've been in Georgia, I think two insurance commissioners have been
Hmm.
convicted.
Yeah.
And I think just recently, I want to say last year, I don't know if it was a public adjuster or an adjuster, but someone out of Gwinnett County was
Hmm.
convicted. Um, so remember, it goes back to what I said. The way the way that it's structured, is definitely an, I ain't gonna say, again, I won't say opportunity, but it makes it, if you're not a person of values and integrity, it can be a easy get rich quick type thing that people think that they're getting away with. But no, insurance fraud is a felony, and I'm not, no jail and no mail in jail for me. So I
Oh, that's right.
yeah, so I I enjoy my freedom.
Let me get one last follow up to this before I move on, because it's just really interesting to hear how you're breaking this down. But so as we think about this, and I was just talking about this three-ring circus, but when you think about how people uh, look at things, and they look at them from the lens is always dirty. I'm just gonna put it like that. The
Yeah,
lens is always dirty. And you know how you talk about regulations, right? And so, under particular federal administrations, that come down to the states and the states regulations itself, a lot of these regulations are like tainted and thrown around based on the political spectrum.
true.
And so when that happens, let's say like now, what's going on right now, which again, I know this is why these issues are popping up, is that normally when you have a Republican administration, regulations are like totally cut off or at ease to the max.
Yeah.
And so people are always blurring the lines. Do you guys ever talk about that and why that should never be, where it keeps bouncing back and forth?
When you say do we guys, who are you referring
I
to?
mean, like you guys, like like adjusters or people that's in the insurance industry. Do you guys ever talk to those folk that's actually decision
Making
makers
decisions.
and handlers that can actually change that and say we need to stick to one thing?
I believe there is some organizations that advocate on behalf of the insurance company adjusters as well as public adjusters. I'm not aware of too many of them because I tend to not get that deep into it. But I will say that one thing that most adjusters are aware of is change is inevitable. You know, always expect change. Uh, if they're not gonna do anything else, they're gonna change. That's one of my managers used to say that about the company we work for. He's like, well, look, as y'all know, if they're not gonna do anything else, they're gonna send something else down. There's gonna be a change. They're always changing something. And so I feel like that's why we're called adjusters, because we have to be able to adjust and not just adjust a claim. Because what does that mean? Adjust a claim means processing a claim in the layman's term. But I think we're called adjusters because you have to be able to adjust to your environment, adjust to the climate, the political climate, uh, and still process the claim within number one, first and foremost, within ethics. Um, and so that can't change. I mean, yeah, ethics is ethics. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. So that,
Okay.
yeah, that can never change. But and then from that point, whatever policy that's in place, um, you know, as they say, we can't pick and choose the law. I mean, if you're breaking it, you broke the law. So, um, you just have to be able to adjust. And you know, if it's something that's just that horrible that's in place, then that's when you have to make a decision. Um, you have to make a decision. I've walked away from things where people thought was a Kool-Aid ideal situation, and it was until it wasn't. If I have, if it's not aligning, I have no problems with walking away. I think that's the difference between, as they call the millennials and I guess who's after millennial X, no Z, Gen Z. Gone are the days of working for someone or anyone for 20, 30 years or being with someone for 20, 30 years and just, you know, accepting it because that's the only option. Um, I don't think that worked too well with us younger generations. Yeah, if something don't smell right, we say if it don't pass the sniff test,
They
yeah,
don't do it.
yeah, it ain't. Yeah, we got to move around. And as the generations continue to get, I mean, they tolerate less. I think my son, who is 19, I think he'll tolerate a lot less than what I was willing to tolerate.
Exactly.
And I know for a fact that I tolerate a lot less than what my parents tolerated in their day. Like we're not doing it.
So there's a comment here in the chat for you.
Oh,
I'll put it on the screen. Um, Great interview, Derrick. This is that's Annette Smith,
oh yeah.
1662.
Thank you, thank you. That's my aunt. Thank you. As we say, that's my auntie.
Well, we're gonna let's transition over to your work with Garden Restoration Group of Georgia. What inspired you to launch Garden Restoration Group?
Well, um, after being in the industry for as long as I have, I've been in there 11 years total. At that time, it was 10. And I was in a transition from, employment to not employed. And had to make a decision. And I made it within a week, to be honest. For a week, if the right person would have called me, I would have been employed somewhere else. But within that week, again, I don't believe in accidents, divine intervention. Within that week, I took upon myself to take some continuing education. I got, I, as being a licensed adjuster, insurance adjuster, and for doing it for as long as I have, I could have just went into this industry uh, saying that, oh, I got all the knowledge that I need, I'm good. But I don't, I believe you can always learn more. So I said, well, let me go get the certification, the water technician, restoration technician certification through the IICRC, just to help build my, at that point I'm building a resume. Now let me build my resume to be a better salesperson or what have you for a restoration company. But while going through that process, it was becoming more apparent to me that, I should entertain the doing my own thing a little bit more. But also, again, God's timing. I was contacted by a great friend of mine that that heard about my transition, and she wanted to invest in my business. And that's how the conversation went. Hey, I just called and tell I want to invest in your business. Ma'am, I don't have a business. Yeah, you do. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So sat back and thought about it. Now, I again, my first business was a janitorial company. I incorporated that company back in 2015. So um, that's been not shut down because I've still been filing the taxes and still been keeping it active, zero filing. And so I've always had a corporation.
Mhm.
And so people are like, man, how you start a business that quick? Well, because when you already had a foundation, it wasn't that hard. I already had the foundation. I already had financial backing in addition to my own financial, situation. And so everything was just, and the people that were calling me um, from my previous position were continuing to call on me. And so I was like, okay, let's try it out. And um, like I said, I thank God for the situation prior to me starting the business because it helped build the momentum. Like I say, Georgia is big on relationships. I spent 9 months building relationships. So when month 10 came around, the floodgates were open, and it's been like I say, rock and rolling ever since. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the situation I'm in. So, and Guardian, like I say, is our focus is service, expertise. That's why I'm real big on education, getting as many certifications as I can, as well as making sure that my team are getting those same, if not more. And at some point, I'm going to stop getting all these certifications and now and then let everybody else, but in the team get them. But service, expertise, and trust are the three pillars that I build Guardian Restoration on. And so, yeah.
Well, what sets your company apart from other restoration?
So what sets us apart is our approach is different. I don't see like the roles as the adjuster and the restoration company as separate. I approach them as collaborative. Um, we bring I bring technical expertise as a licensed adjuster into the real world impact. I specialize in helping homeowners and businesses recover from their water, fire, smoke damage. Help them navigate the insurance process with clarity and confidence. And and so with this company being led by a licensed adjuster, uh, we understand how claims are elevated, how to properly document losses, and how to advocate for fair outcomes. And so I think that's what sets us apart. We don't just restore properties; we restore peace of mind.
So, how do you maintain rapid response readiness for emergencies?
Oh, well, we're 24-hour, 24/7 operation. We have crews that are on call. You call us at 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll get answered. You'll get a dispatch. You'll get dispatch a technician, and you'll be provided that technician's name, phone number and the photo and an ETA. And so, just how do we stay prepared? We, as the saying, we stay ready so you don't have to, so we don't have to get ready. 24-hour operation. We rotate our techs. You know, we have some on call. We have some working during the day, some on call overnight. Same thing with the weekends. We rotate the weekend time slots, and we, you know, depending on who's on call, you might see me out there. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, what does customer first service look like in your industry?
Customer first service is what it looks like is the customer is always the number one priority. Now, what I realize, a lot of people in our industry get the customer confused. They think their only customer is the homeowner, but that's not the case. The insurance company is also our customer as well. Now, if there was a hierarchy to the customer tree, obviously the homeowner is number one. I would say the insurance company is 1.5 because the person that holds the purse tends to be the person that makes the decision. Now the homeowner is the number one. Like, and so that's why you have to, when you approach the insurance company, you're approaching them as a collaborative effort in taking care of the homeowner, or a collaborative effort in taking care of that business owner or that property owner, because you want the insurance company to feel like that this is a team effort. You want the homeowner to, and the business or the property owner, to feel like this is a collaborative effort that all parties are on the same page. But at the end of the day, the person that, you know, the homeowner is your number one as always, and you just have to navigate that back and forth between the homeowner and the insurance company, because the insurance company gonna have their requirements, their guidelines, their, you know, their pushback. Oh well, we can do this, we can't do this. And my number one line I used to tell people in sales is, I don't know KNOW until I receive a no NO. So that means I'm going to continue
That's
to ask, I'm going to continue to inquire, I'm going to continue to advocate until I get a no. And then a no from you don't necessarily mean as a no from the insurance company. Because, okay, well, can I speak to someone a little bit higher? Can I speak to a supervisor? You know, is there a supervisor available that we can have this conversation with? And so just got to be able to navigate. But the number one customer is the homeowner, the property owner. And then, like I said, 1.5 is not 2, but 1.5 is the insurance company. Because again, if the expectation is to do this for a payment, you have to be able to coddle them as well.
mm. So, how do you train your team to handle high stress disaster situations?
Well, so what we do is, I mean, we have team meetings. You know, we do team outings to help keep morale high, and then outside of that, we have trainings to. I mean, you can only teach empathy so much, but we have those trainings. Be like, be mindful of your tone, be mindful of your facial expressions, which I'm 100% guilty of that. My face will say a whole lot more than my mouth at times. You know, I've been in situations where I'm doing just something like this, doing the interview, and I'm getting a text message like, "Fix your face," you know, when I'm not the one speaking, when someone else speaking, and they done made a
Mm,
comment, and my face done said a whole lot. And so just be mindful of your body movement, your gestures, your speaking, your tone, and and if you ever arrive to a situation where it's just too much, you know, step away, step out, you know, let you know, let someone else. None of our crews arrive alone. It's not like it's a one man crew. There's always two or more. And so if you need to step outside because it's too much, let hey, Derrick, I'm about to step outside real quick and get some fresh air. Because again, we don't most of the time. I mean, we don't deal like I said. People are not calling us on their best day. We're dealing with some traumatic situations. Now, water damage may seem normal to us at this point. Anything, no water. I mean, water, fire. I done showed up to some fires where, I mean, you seeing grown men crying, you know, because something, their house is on fire. You see kids or women crying because their dog have died. Like those are emotional situations. For me to see another grown man crying uh, will always tug at my heart because that level of empathy, I guess. Uh, John Q is my number one movie. I just can't watch it. you know,
Oh,
I mean, that was my movie before I became a father. After I became a father, there's no way I like John Q just gets me every time because it's just something about that. So when I show up to someone's house and they emotionally distraught, male or female, sometimes I had to step away. Excuse me, let me go outside. Let me walk. Let me catch some fresh air because it can be a lot. And so just tell people, at the end of the day, we're human. Uh, make sure you think before you react. Don't say something fly. Receive, register, respond.
mhm.
Yeah.
Um, what is the most memorable restoration project you've worked on?
The most memorable one that I personally worked on. Well, that was a fire that took place uh, in my cousin's neighborhood. That's what made it memorable because my cousin was kind of involved. He was the superhero that knocked on the door and saved the people out the house, and so that alone made it a personal attachment. Uh, and the fact that it is next door to my cousin, and so my kids have interacted with their kids, and so it was a personal experience. And so to be able to be there because my cousin called me and I showed up, and to be able to be there to assist them to navigate that process. Um, I tell people, I said, man, it was like a clinic. I was working a clinic with that adjuster. I mean, it was. I mean, I was impressed with how smooth that job was going because you know, every time I walked away from it and let someone else handle it, they were like, oh man, the adjuster, push back on this. I asked why is this? I shoot an email, I make a phone call and it was getting approved. And it was just like, oh my. It was just because I guess because I've been there, I know the talk, and hey, how you doing? Just want to follow up. Or it got to the point where the adjuster was like, well, have Derrick give me a call or send an email saying asking. She'll forward, say you send an email, hey, Miss such and such, we need blah 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 this and that. She'll forward the email and say, hey, Charles is asking for this. Is this necessary? And I'd be like, oh, yes, ma'am. Let me, so I'm like, okay. So that was definitely more memorable because one, the family connection, two, everything was just like running so smoothly that it was, I mean, even some of our vendor partners, when they saw me send an email on their behalf, and the adjuster was like, oh, okay. It was like, we just talked to her and she was like not having it. And so just being able to do that. And then when they got back into their home, I wasn't there the day they got back in, but I heard about it when I went to my cousin's house. We talked, we laughed, we chopped it up. I was saying how nice it was, and they were just happy to be back. And so that was a great, memorable one. I never forget that one.
So tell us, how do you ensure quality control across multiple job sites? Because I mean, like, have you guys actually ever done like had like maybe three, four jobs going at the same time?
Oh yeah, I mean we have project managers. I try my best to get out to every job site at least once or twice, depending on how large the job is. If the job is taking because we do restoration, mitigation, and reconstruction.
Oh, wow.
So, so if it's a job where we get the mitigation and the reconstruction, I'm out there multiple times throughout the process. I'm out there once or twice doing the mitigation, uh, 3 to 4 times doing the reconstruction. Again, depending on how large it is. Uh, I I'm usually a part of every conversation with the adjuster. I and then it's like I say, it's a team. I have project managers. We have office staff that reaches out to ensure that handles our vendors, that communicate with them to let them know our standards, and if we hear anything back from a customer regarding or an issue, or they asking questions, we're reaching out to them because again, this is heavily attached to my reputation, and is leaning on being this organization, this company is led by a licensed adjuster, which is me. And so I want to make sure that the quality is there because, um, as I tell people, I'm not doing anything that's going to jeopardize my license. And if you're doing anything that's going to jeopardize my license, you will not be working here any longer.
I know that's right. What does it mean to be IICRC certified, and why does it matter?
So IICRC, um, I should know what that means. I'm going to find out. IICRC is it's called the Institute of Inspecting, Cleaning, and Restoration Certification. That's what the C stand for. What it means to be certified. So we're certified twice. I'm individually certified, and then our company is certified. And so what that means is we have gone through the training, the testing, and have been vetted as individuals in in company that follows the set of global standards for industry that restore and protect spaces that people live and work in. The IRC develop internationally recognized standards, so it's not just here in Georgia or in the U.S. This is international. This is worldwide standards for the cleaning and restoration of facilities. Um, and it covers from flood, mold, carpet cleaning, fire restoration, um, odor control. All that is part of IICRC and what they do. And in order to be a certified firm, you have to have a certain amount of years in the industry. You have to have certified technicians, and we are both. Um, it demonstrates professionalism, adherence to industry standards, and a commitment to ongoing education. So it's not like a one-time thing. We will continue to learn. It helps build credibility in the industry, and in the for consumers, as in customers. It provides them a confidence and peace of mind knowing that they hired a company that follows the established best practices and employs it, so that us being a certified firm lets you know that we employ certified technicians. Um, and so that's why that's important. Going forward, you will see that on everything, that our website, our vehicles, our business cards, that we're a certified firm, because we want people to know that. Is not that many. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
So, tell our audience, what would they be getting? If some of them had to look for people in restoration or a company in restoration to do work, what are they going to get from Guardian Restoration Group that's going to make you stand alone or stand apart from the rest of the competition?
You're gonna get a prompt response. Um, we don't, as my grandma would say, lollygag. You get you get a prompt response. You get certified technicians that will come out to your home and uh, you know certified technicians based on whatever the situation is. We have fire certified technicians, we have water, we have mold certified technicians, and you will get that hands-on treatment to help you navigate that process, whether it's an insurance claim process or if it's an out-of-pocket process, and we'll help you determine if which one is which route should you go. If you come out and the job is only $1,500 job and you have a $5,000 deductible, we wouldn't recommend you filing the claim, because one, you have a claim on your claim history, and two, you still gonna end up paying this out of pocket because the amount of the damage is below your deductible. So why do that? And so you get that experience most, and we know what questions to ask. We know if you ask, are you a homeowner or you're a renter? If you we know how to navigate, and working with us, you get a network of not just Guardian Restoration Group, but a network of others. If your home need to be packed out, you don't have to, look around and have someone to come pack your house out. We work with pack out companies. If you need a plumber, you don't have to look for a plumber. You can call us, and that's one of our questions. If it's a water related job, has a plumber been out? Well, no, I haven't called. Okay, well, don't worry about it. We have one for you. We work with several plumbers, electricians, HVAC. I have a network of people that we work with that I tell people we try our best to be the one-stop shop that we will navigate you from beginning to end. And that comes from the adjuster background, because that's how it was when I was an adjuster. We took that claim from beginning to end. And so I try to take every job. We try to handle every job from beginning to end. We do get jobs where we come in just to do the mitigation. We'll come in just to do the reconstruction. So we come in behind someone. But every time we still do the same thing. We provide the top-notch customer service. As you can see from our reviews, our clients are happy with us. And even unfortunately, we had one client that 60 days after one claim, and we just wrapped up that one 30 days later. 60 days from the original claim, 30 days after completion, another pipe burst, and we were the first person he called.
Oh, wow.
Derrick, I couldn't think of nobody else but you. I'm like, oh man, I'm so hate to hear that, as far as the situation. And so that's what we like. We're not going into these thinking that these are one-time clients. We know realistically they could be one-time clients, but we treat everyone with the respect that we want you to call us back again. And that happens. They call you back if something happened. And
so let's talk about your leadership at the Chamber of Commerce. What motivated you to take the role of president and CEO of the Greater Eastside Chamber?
At that point in time when I took over in December 2021. I was the interim president. And at that time, I was the youngest on the board. I'm still the youngest on the board, but I was the youngest on the board. I was the treasurer at that time. And the board voted to select me to be the president. And so that gave me a confidence boost, because again, when I say I'm the youngest, these people on the board are old enough to be parents, probably, of me. So for them to have that level of confidence in me, that gave me a level of confidence. And I hit the ground running. I was one of those young leaders that had this output of the world that as some would say, naively thinking that everyone was willing and able to collaborate and work collaboratively. I learned real quick that outside of running my campaign and dealing with that type of politics, I learned that politics are interesting. It's interesting, and there's always politics involved when dealing with people in public, the governments, municipalities. and just trying to do community work. There's always some politics involved, but I love it. I love what I do when it come down to the chamber. I love it because it allows me the opportunity to stay a part connected to the community. And since I am a small business owner, it allows me to connect with other small business owners. I mean, I feel like there's enough business for all of us. I mean, I've sent out emails introducing members to other members that's having to be a mitigation company as well. You know, hey, we got a new member. They such and such restoration. Reach out to them. They're great. That someone would say, "Oh, that's crazy. That's direct competition." I mean, as the president of the chamber, I'm the president of all members, not just non-restoration members.
Right. So, how do chambers of commerce influence local economic development?
So our chamber is we say we're the engine for local businesses. We focus on visibility, viability, and velocity. Um, we don't just host events; we create international ecosystems, intentional ecosystems where business get done. People, collaborate, strategic partnerships, increase exposures, access to decision makers. That's what we try to produce. That's what we try to do for our members, and by doing that, that helps the economic development, that develops the economy, keep money flowing within our community, and you know, I mean, our niche is supporting small to mid-sized businesses and help them compete at a higher level. And so,
So, what are the biggest needs you see among small businesses in your region?
the largest need is access to capital funding,
Hmm.
um, and but then that goes back to the second largest need is being ready to exceed or be, to be in a position where you can get that access to capital. I mean, you can get access. Like if I can tell you I have $1 million, but if you don't qualify for it, then it does nothing for you. So not only are we trying to find where's that $1 million, we're trying to make sure that when we do find that $1 million, you're qualified to get that $1 million. As an example.
So, how do you foster collaborations among the business owners?
So we host networking uh, events. We also, if things come across my desk or come across any of the board member desks, we share that, and we know we don't. I know a majority of the membership, but we don't know everyone. But we know enough to know what categories. Like, okay, if something comes across online, social media, or email direct from a municipality or the county or state, federal, we get these notifications. We either disperse it through our newsletter or we send it directly to that group of people. If some grant funding coming out for nonprofits that work with children, well, we know that we have several members that are nonprofit that work with youth. Hey, be mindful, this is coming down the pike. And then for collaboration efforts, like let's say if, um, example, we have another restoration company in our membership. We also have a few plumbers in our membership. Well, we make sure that they know of each other. We collaborate. We give them we send out emails. There's some realtors in the group. We make sure that the realtors are aware of the people that can benefit from them and the people that they can benefit from. If if a member say, "Hey, I'm looking for a new office space," well, hey, such and such is a commercial realtor. We do that by one, trying to get them in front of each other as much as possible with networking events, and then two, by intentionally sending out notices and text messages to connect people to each other when we are notified of opportunities that will benefit both parties.
Final question for you. What initiatives are you most proud of within the chamber?
One was the launching of our nonprofit, the Greater Eastside Alliance, which focuses on that workforce and economic development. Um, that initiative was a it started as a talking point, and it turned into what it is today. The alliance we call it, that's our impact arm, where we address workforce gaps and create pipelines to opportunities. Uh, we teach we teach continuing education classes for insurance related industry, for property and casualty, assurance adjusters and agents. We teach the pre-licensing course for insurance adjusters. We are becoming pre-licensed certified to teach the pre-licensing course for property insurance agents. We're looking into starting a real estate school to teach real estate agents. We're working with the state and the U.S. Department of Labor to launch our apprentice program for HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. So like those are like that is the biggest initiative that I'm definitely excited about working with. We're already in some schools in Gwinnett County program that we have with them. It started at elementary level, building up entrepreneurs, and so I'm definitely excited about what we're doing at the Alliance, which is part of the the chamber. It's the economic, like I said, it's the impact arm of the chamber. We focus on training, certification, and access. I mean, we have scholarships for people who want to get any of the Google certifications that out there. We were able to provide scholarships for those. We are a partner with Google, so I'm as you see, I light up when we start talking about the alliance because I love that. That's our nonprofit arm. And so, well, I'm not gonna say nonprofit because the chamber is nonprofit. It's a 501c3 because as you
Right,
know, there's multiple levels of nonprofit.
right.
The 501c3, your monies are tax deductible. It's a charitable donation versus as the chamber, which is 501c6, that's just a business expense that you can write off. It has different weights when it comes down to taxes. But yeah, that's my biggest initiative. Starting that, hoping to get our training arm of the alliance up and running. But we offer these trainings of how to start a business, business plans, HR, compliance, all this and that. Um, we know that people need them, but it's hard to get people to sign up for them, to come out to them. And so we're not gonna give up on them. We're gonna keep offering them, and hopefully, at some point, people realize. I noticed that a lot of people think that they can just start a business behind passion and try to wing it, with no training, no structure, no anything. Um, and one of the first couple of things I did when I started this restoration or relaunch, got into business, is I hired a bookkeeper, a CPA, and attorney. And a large amount of my budget goes to marketing. Those are the four things that people feel like they don't have to do. I
No,
do my
you're right
own
about that
books.
marketing part because that definitely needs to happen.
Yeah. Everybody feel like I do my own books. I make my own contracts, and I'm gonna grow my business word of mouth. That that's a disaster for failure. But I get it. Sometimes you just got to go out there and do it. But at some point, you would think you would want to get to a point where you can hire a bookkeeper. And if your bookkeeper is not a CPA, then you hire a CPA. And I recommend keeping them separate because it's an accountability thing. So I have a bookkeeper and a CPA, and then you definitely need an attorney. You can't be out here handing out contracts and ain't nobody vetted. You could be wrong, or you could be opening yourself up for things. And last but not least, This is not build it and they shall come. No, if if you're going to spend the time building it, you want to make sure people know that you built it.
Yep.
And so you have to advertise, you have to market, and I noticed those are the four things that people tend to sleep on. They don't find out till they 3, 4, 5 years in business trying to figure out why they're struggling because they never set the foundation. And so,
So, in closing, what are some words of wisdom and encouragement that you like to have, that you like to give to our audience? Tell them how to connect with you via your social media, your website, all those good things, and even tell them how they can get your book.
okay, so my I do have a book on Amazon. It's called is what man, what is the name of the book? I got the other name of the book in my head. It's called Marketing with a Human Touch. Um, so that's on Amazon. You can just search Derrick J. Wilson on Amazon and the authors, and it should pop up. Or Marketing with a Human Touch, Derrick J. Wilson. Um, that goes back to that marketing. Also, to learn more about the Great Eastside Chamber, the website is www.mygecc.org. To learn more about the Great Eastside Alliance, which we're also having our inaugural golf tournament in May, you can visit geainc.org. If you'd like to make a donation or be a sponsor for the golf tournament, you can visit like geainc.org, and to learn more about that. Like I said, we don't just prepare people for work, we prepare them for ownership, stability, and legacy. That's what the Greater Eastside Alliance is about. To learn more about Garden Restoration Group, if you ever in a disaster, you water, fire, smoke, mold, storm damage, if a tree fall on your house, whatever storm related damage you may sustain, Garden Restoration Group of Georgia is the company to call. We are here to assist. We do offer remodeling, reconstruction services as well. That website is Guardian, GUARDIAN, F like Frank, M like Mary, I like ice.com. That's guardianfmi.com. Every last one of us, those organizations have social media pages. You can find Great Eastside Alliance on LinkedIn. You can just type in Great Eastside Alliance, INC. You can find Great Eastside Chamber of Commerce on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search Great Eastside Chamber. And you can find Garden Restoration Group on LinkedIn and Facebook. Just type in Garden Restoration Group of Georgia, and we are there. We're also on Nextdoor app, as well as our Google platforms. And me personally, Derrick J. Wilson. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Just type in Derrick J. Wilson. If you want to really narrow it down, type in Derrick J. Wilson, Georgia, and you'll find everything Googleable about me. You'll start researching prior campaigns and everything. I'm Googleable, as I tell people. Open book. And if I had any words of wisdom, I would tell people, make sure what you're doing in life is fulfilling your purpose. We're not, we wasn't, I don't believe we were born to just exist. There's purpose in everything and everyone. And I feel like I'm walking in my purpose by helping the community. And people might say, well, how are you helping the community? Well, I help the community through the initiatives and the programs at the chamber, and I help the community every day when they're in distress. And so, outside of restoration and outside of adjusting and outside of chamber, I tell people I'm a community person. I'm a community figure because everything I do is about advancing and helping our community. So.
Well, I'd like to, before I do my closing monologue, I want to say to you, I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you helping us to see the growth that you've had since your last appearance on the show, but also, the resilience of not ever wanting to quit, but always wanting to be better and doing it from an ethical perspective, which means so much, which now I think, that's one of those things that now I understand. Well, I've understood it before, but now I can see the focus now as
Mm.
to why a lot of professions are delving so deep into ethics because, people, I guess, some people still try to bypass that,
Right.
but it matters so much, especially when you're in the service industry like you are, because it matters because as you mentioned early in the show, when people can trust you and they have that trust, that's like a relationship, that's like a collaboration, that's like everything that's about togetherness, that's community.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you so much for that work that you're doing. For those of you that are watching on all of our channels, including the YouTube channels, if you have not yet subscribed and enabled all notifications, I ask if you would please support us by subscribing to the channels, enabling all notifications, and getting the notifications to watch the shows live when they go live. But also, you have the ability to go back into the channel and you can watch all of the previous recorded episodes with all this great knowledge of all the professionals that have been here that's showing you the positive part of what they're doing in their lives that contribute to community growth and community building. So, in closing, this closing monologue means a whole lot. Tonight's conversation reminds us that leadership is not just about titles, it's about service, responsibility, and the courage to build what our communities need. Derrick J. Wilson stands as a powerful example of what it means to repair both structure and systems, to uplift both businesses and people, and to create opportunities that outlive the moment. In the spirit of Winnie Mandela, whose resilience shaped the nation, Derrick's work shows us that transformation happens when we stand firm, stay committed, and choose to lead with integrity. Thank you for joining us for this episode of American Black and White. I am your host, Charles Zachary King, and as always, we honor the past, examine the present, and build towards a future worthy of our communities. We'll see you next time on American Black and White tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys, please have a great evening. Come back and see us tomorrow for another great show, and we will see you guys then.